Ever wondered how to turn a simple 3D model into something that feels warm, soft, and truly photorealistic? It all comes down to the light. Today, we're breaking down the entire process of lighting a beautiful bedroom scene from scratch, using nothing but a Corona sun and sky. Welcome to this new tutorial. We're going back to basics today with a super important topic. Now, I want to say right up front, there's no single right way to do this. You'll find many tutorials with different workflows. And that's okay. The best method always depends on the look you're going for and the specific scene you're working with. Okay, let's open the render setup. Under the Scene tab, we're going to activate the Material Override. Think of this as creating a blank, neutral canvas. It lets us focus purely on the quality and color of the light without being distracted by complex materials. Now, let's open the material editor and grab a Corona Legacy material. We'll drag this into the slot for the Material Override, using the instance method. Let's just change its color to a clean, simple white. If we start the interactive rendering now, the screen will be completely black, because we have no lights yet. One little thing, I'm going to disable the NVIDIA GPU AI denoising for now. I just find it's a bit distracting during the interactive setup phase. Time to add our main light source, a Corona sun. You can either click the sun symbol in the Corona toolbar, or find it under the lights panel on the right. I always prefer using a targeted sun. It just makes it so much easier to control the angle precisely. Position the sun according to your scene. In my case, I want to keep the sun quite low to get some beautiful, soft light catching the wall on the right. Don't worry about the look in the render just yet. This is just to get an idea of the direction. The intensity is way too strong right now, but we'll fix that. First, let's add a Corona sky environment to support our sun. Now, back to the sun's settings. Let's drop the intensity way down to 0.03 and increase the size to 5.0. A smaller sun creates hard, sharp shadows, while a bigger sun softens them up. I'll also disable these other functions and only keep visibility and reflections active. Now let's dial in the Corona sky. Open the rendering menu and go to Environment. You can see the Corona sky we just created. Let's drag it into the material editor as an instance to get more control. I'll use the RPG Clear Sky model. An intensity of 0.2 works well here. Let's change the turbidity to 1.7 to create a slightly clearer sky. I'll also add a tiny bit of fake horizon blur at 0.1. Most importantly, make sure you've selected your Corona sun under the sun selection. To refine this even further, let's use a color correction map. Just search for it and drag it into the editor. Now, connect the Corona sky to its input. I'll desaturate the sky by -0.8 and bump the exposure slightly to 0.3. Don't forget the final step. Go back to the environment window and drag our new color correction map into the slot, replacing the original sky. Just look at that. It already feels so much better. Next up, let's add a nice background outside the windows. There are many ways to do this, from using an HDRI to a simple plane. For this tutorial, I'm just going to drag an image of a city into the material editor as a bitmap. Change its mapping to Environment and choose Spherical. I'll set the blur to 0.01 for a crisp image. And you guessed it, we need another color correction map to make it fit our scene. Just hold Shift and drag to copy the one we made before. Connect the bitmap to it. For this background, I'll use a brightness of 0.4, a saturation of -0.5, a contrast of 0.8, and a temperature of 6,000 Kelvin. Let's also reset the exposure back to 0. To add this to our scene, open the Render setup, go to the Scene tab, and let's turn off the main Material Override now. Scroll down to the Overrides section and activate the Refractions Override. This means our new background will only be visible through the window glass. Drag our background's color correction map into this slot. And look at that, it works perfectly. Let's just adjust the angle a little to find a good view. Okay, a quick word on artificial lighting. Most of the time, 3D models of lamps will already have light sources included. My only advice is, if you have a bright, sunny scene like this, keep the artificial lighting very subtle. Now for the fun part. Let's add some camera and post-processing effects. In the render settings, under the camera tab, activate sharpness and blurring. I'll use a sharpen radius of 0.3 and an amount of 1.6. Let's also activate bloom and glare, setting both intensities to 0.3 for a soft, photographic glow. Before we go further, let's lock our camera by pressing this little icon. This allows us to move around in the viewport to make adjustments while the interactive render stays put. Now, let's sculpt the final look with tone mapping. Press the plus icon here. First, add a vignette and set it to 0,3. Add simple exposure and change it to 2. Add a legacy white balance and set it to a warmer 7,000 Kelvin. We'll use a green magenta tint of -0,025 and a saturation of -0,02. Add highlight compression and set it to 3.0. Add filmic mapping with 0,3 highlight compression and 0,5 rich shadows. Increase the overall contrast to 2.0. Let's add a LUT. I'll use the ground control grunge LUT. And lastly, let's add a curve. And just pull it down slightly like this. That's it. You know what? I'm not fully happy with the background. This is a great example of the artistic process. Let's just go back and adjust it one more time. That's looking better. I'll also tweak the sun's angle just a tiny bit to get more defined rays and shadows. We're almost there. For the final render, let's set a noise level limit of 2.5%. Now that our lighting and mood are set, it's time to become a photographer. All you need to do is find more interesting camera angles. Try experimenting with different focal lengths. Use a wider angle like 25mm to show the whole room, a mid-range like 50 to 80mm for standard shots, and a longer lens, over 100mm, for beautiful close-up details. And when you're shooting close-ups, be sure to use depth of field. When you're ready to render, just open the rendering menu and go to Batch Render. Here you can create a render queue. Just add all your cameras, set the output path for your images, and hit render. And that's it for today's very foundational but super important tutorial. You now have a complete workflow for creating soft, realistic interior lighting. I really hope you liked it and learned something new. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.